I'm joined now by makeup artist Hope Matchett. Hope, thank you for being here. I'm a little nervous because clearly I'm not a makeup artist.
No, you look great. I'm super excited to be here, Emily.
Well,
thanks for having me.
So I'm thrilled to talk to you about your art because you have so many challenges that other artists don't have. When did you fall in love with makeup, and when did you realize this is something I want to pursue? I'm good at this.
Absolutely. So I actually have 2 college degrees. I have a bachelor's in theatrical performing arts, and then I also have a business management degree. And while I was in college, I earned a job at the MAC counter as a freelance artist. So I worked there part-time. My mom actually was a makeup artist, so I grew up around it. I've been around it my entire life, but never thought in a million years that this would be my career as well.
Sure.
I was just really knowledgeable because it's all I had really known since I was a small child. And I thought, I could get this job, I could do this, it'd be really fun. And it was really good paying at that time.
Yeah.
And within just a month or so, I said, I think this is what I want to do. I just loved it. I loved making the women that came into the counter feel better than they had all week about themselves. Like their 20 minutes that they spent with me, you could just tell that that swipe of lipstick or blush or just the touching of people, I feel, you know, we as society, we don't get enough self-care. And so it's just those little points that I can touch somebody, you know, in their heart every day.
Yeah.
So I think that the best careers are ones we kind of fall into happenstance. So like I said, I never thought this is where I would end up. It was just a side job when I started, and then clients started, you know, asking me to do more and more, and I picked up more hours, and then I said, I think I could do this on my own, and I think I would really love doing this. So started the company and incorporated, and then added team members, and now there's 11 of us, and every day is different. Although I do, you know, a lot of desk work as the business owner at this point, it's still different every day. I get to see new faces, and between our guests that maybe we see once in a lifetime because they're an out-of-state bride or something, to our regular salon guests that come in every 4 weeks, I just love the relationship aspect of it, and that we get to touch lives every single day that we go to work. We do lots and lots of weddings, about 250 a year. A lot, yes, yes. We're the bridal queens over here. But we do a lot of film, TV, photo shoots. We work with a lot of local hospitals and non-local hospitals because we do travel nationwide. And so doctors, physicians, nurses, technical teams behind the scenes, you know, we're working with them for headshots, videos that they're producing for internal or external productions for teams or their patients. So it's really for everyone, and it's really just knowing the ins and outs of those facial features. Every canvas is different every single day.
Sure.
So it's knowing about eye shapes, knowing about skin tones, skin types, different ethnicities, really being able to bring out that person's individual positive characteristics that they want to enhance.
You mentioned that you do a lot of work with TV, with film, with headshots. How does your artistry differ for those applications as opposed to kind of everyday or even weddings, for example?
Sure. So makeup for photos is so different than makeup for every day. Number one, you have to make sure that you're using products that are formulated for photography purposes. So things you want to stay away from are mineral makeups. The individual molecules of the makeup in those products tend to be quite a bit larger than an individual molecule in makeup that's made for photography, for example. So what that's going to do with our new HD cameras that pick up everything, it's going to look gray on the face, it can look grainy, it can look white or ashy. If you've ever seen a photo or a film of someone and something just looked off, or they almost looked ghostly or chalky, it's because their makeup had too much filler in it. And that doesn't mean you have to go out and buy a $70 foundation. Some of those can be great, but some of them are more for everyday wear, and something that's more of a mid-range might be better for those films. So it's really knowing your products and making sure that you're picking the right the right ones. And then also, application has a lot to do with it as well. So we need to make sure that we're really livening up the face. We need to apply more blush. We need to apply the lip colors a little bit darker so that things aren't washed out. Making sure that we have appropriate eyeliners, which those things may be something that you don't wear on a daily basis at all, or you wear something that's a lot more sheer or lighter toned, and we really need to amp it up for those photos. So if you're getting photos taken and you're having professional makeup done, don't panic when you look in the mirror and you don't quite look like yourself. You're gonna look like the best version of yourself in those photos.
Okay, so you mentioned that that your bachelor's is in theater. So do you ever dabble in more theatrical makeup?
We do. So I think a common misconception is, you know, when you think makeup artist, you think I'm doing all this crazy stuff all of the time.
Right.
And I think when I first started, that was kind of the dream. And then the dream evolved that I really just wanted to touch the average woman's life. And I think that that's has happened and is really important to me and my team of staff as well. I live in a world of tan. So, you know, when you're a makeup artist, especially in the Midwest, it's how can I make people of normalcy look like their best versions of themselves. So I have 50 versions of natural makeup that I can pull out of my back pocket for all ages, all skin tones, you know, all preferences of everything. But we do a few times a year offer theatrical makeup for live performances. Recently we did a production at a hospital and we had to do some FX makeup. They were filming something for their ER, so they wanted like a child to look like they had been in like a really bad accident. So we had to do some wounds and scars like on the leg area. So when I get to do things like that, it's definitely a unique day and it's fun.
So what kind of education does that take over and above all of the education that you're doing for your everyday stuff?
Yeah, so it's totally different. You have to know about like latex, textures of, you know, building up putties and things on the skin. It's a lot of building because if you're creating a bruise, for example, you know, we might think of bruises as blue or purple, but really they have lots of different undertones in there. So it's starting with those undertones and then kind of building those up. So believe it or not, you know, looking at medical journals and magazines to really see those types of things, to really be able to look at the different colorations and textures that you see and then try to replicate that.
And then are you just practicing on your staff? Are you practicing on your husband? You know, how are you sure when you go into that setting that this is going to look realistic?
Yeah, so, you know, always practicing. Every day is practice, I say. But usually if it's something that's a little bit more outside of the norm, we might practice on each other prior to going in just so we have a really good game plan set up, especially when it comes to FX or specialty types of makeup.
Yes. Okay, so if you had one major tip for the average woman who isn't getting her makeup done professionally every day, what would that be? How can we kind of take it into our own hands to be an artist on ourselves?
Well, I always say my desert island staple is blush. Which I think is sometimes an oddity because typically when I ask women, they would say lip color, lip gloss, or mascara, which would be my number 2 items. But blush it just makes the face so lively.
I'm with you.
And I think we get fear of it because we think, okay, I'm gonna look like my grandma. I'm gonna look like one of these 80s ladies, you know, from their wedding day. With the stripes or the really round, you know, hot pink types of flush. But if I'm running late and that was the only thing that I could put on my face, my pick would be blush. So don't be afraid of blush. Find your shade. Find out how to applicate for your face shape as well, and you won't regret it. It was life-changing. Blush is the best thing. You will look alive.
I love that. What is the hardest part of your job?
Oh, the hardest part of my job, I don't think is makeup. I think it's personalities. So, you know, we work with lots of personalities every single day when we're on a film or TV set or photo production. You know, we're there to make the production team or the ad company happy. And then sometimes you have models that like to try to push the limits of that a little bit. So lots of personalities. Also wedding days, you know, you might not always have people getting along. You've got brides, you've got mother-in-laws,
you've got nerves, you've got timetables.
You've got everything.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot that goes into that. And everybody talks about bridezillas, and do they exist? I guess yes, but I don't like to think of it like that. I don't think brides are crazy. I think that when we're put into an extraneous circumstance, so a once-in-a-lifetime thing that's really important, there's a lot of pressure on everybody. They're spending lots of money. There's a lot of time invested. They just really want to make sure that everything turns out perfectly. And I think that when you're putting pressure on someone, eventually what's on the inside is going to come out.
Sure. So
because we're the people that touch them, that have more of that emotional connection to them, sometimes we end up being the scapegoat where those inside emotions come out on. So it's learning to not take that personally and to see, you know, how can I help in this situation and not judge.
So you're not just an artist, you're a therapist, and I mean, that's...
all of the things,
yes. All the things. Okay, I ask a lot of artists this. When your art becomes your career, does it lose a little bit of its joy? When you do have to spend so much time behind a desk and, you know, dealing with the logistics of it, does it make it a little less joyful than maybe it was before?
So it can if you don't curb the burnout. So burnout, I think, especially in an arts industry, is so real. We can get overworked, overtired, you know, just when things start piling up, it kind of takes the fun out of it. So it's knowing your limits and taking guests that are right for you as well. Not every person that calls is going to be, you know, our perfect guest. And sometimes it might take a few visits to find that out, but we want to make sure that they're 100% happy, that we're 100% happy in that relationship, because everybody wins in that, in that situation.
Hope, you are delightful. You're beautiful, and I love that you share that feeling with people all over.
Well, thank you.
That's such what a great way to spread your talent. So thank you for sitting down with me.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Arts in Focus on PBS Fort Wayne is funded in part by the Our Foundation and the Community Foundation of Greater Fort Wayne.